All right, we are live. We are live right now. We are live, baby. So what's up, everybody? How everybody doing? Welcome to another episode of the Kava podcast. You guys already know my name is Will. I'm the host for the show. I'm very excited today. Very excited. We have one of our Tongan brothers all the way from the East Coast, all the way from Florida, He is actually low key famous on social media, but but I know he's humble. He want to keep it humble, but he's low key famous on social media. I love his vibes. He's a great dancer. I love his videos, but I'll let him talk about it as he talks about his story. Everybody that's watching this for the first time, like I said, please show some love and support. Please like and subscribe to my channel. And of course, everybody that's been watching this, shout out to all you guys for all the love and support. But I'll let him introduce himself real quick, so I'll pass it on to him. All you.
So, hi everybody. My name is Sione. I am 28 from Florida.
Tongan.
And I'm Tongan. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I'm from Florida and I'm Tongan.
All right. So what's up, Sione? And like I said, one more time, thank you. Very grateful for taking the time to be on this podcast.
Me, brother.
Yeah. But I'm ready to fire this up. Let's get this started. I'll go ahead and ask you the first question. How did you grow up?
I grew up. Well, honestly, I feel like I have like two different growing ups because I grew up in. I was born in Oakland, California.
Okay.
And I lived there till I was 10.
Got you.
And then I moved to Florida after that. And then I feel like those were like two different growing up eras of my life. But I'll start with California.
Shout out to Oakland, by the way.
Yeah. Are you from Oakland?
No. I'm from the Bay Area, but
on
the other
area.
Side.
Gang. Yeah. And actually, no. See, it's funny because I'm always like trying to be like gang with everybody from Oakland, but I'm like, I feel like I'm like trying too hard sometimes. But yeah, so I grew up in Oakland. I felt like I had a pretty normal childhood. My parents, they worked, just growing up. We went from an apartment to a house, and after that it was actually really quick, to be honest. Like the first 5 years, like I don't even remember, like until kindergarten. And then like after that, I felt like it was really quick, like a really short time in Oakland. And but we had fun. Like at one point we did like stay in a hotel for like a month. Yeah. This was because my parents sold their house in Oakland, and we were in the process of moving to Florida.
Got you.
So like we ended up just like, we're like, you know what? Let's stay in the hotel. Like that's all we can do. And it was pretty fun. Like all my cousins, they always came like to the swimming pool. Swimming pools were a big thing back then. But yeah, after that, I can't really remember like a lot of things that stuck out in Oakland.
Yeah.
But when I moved to Florida, it was like really different. I didn't have like a lot of, I
can only imagine to go from Oakland, because I know what Oakland is, and to go to Florida.
Yeah, because I moved to Florida. I didn't have any friends. I didn't really know anybody. Okay. I didn't like have like a lot of friends. I made like few little friends, but looking back, I was kind of a loner. And like there was no Tongan people, so I didn't really have any like body to relate to.
Yeah.
I was really shy, and I was bullied. I mean, a lot of people are bullied, but I felt like really lonely because I was overweight. I was flamboyant. I stood out. I was like an easy target.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, people are rude. So, but growing up, sorry.
I say like people are always rude to people that are different.
Right.
You know, people. Yeah, I noticed that. Like, you know, if you're different, if you're not like everybody else, they always want to target those people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I remember like my sister, she was always like, I mean, she was a tomboy, you know, she was Tongan, so like she was like bigger than like some of the kids in middle school. She was like, Nona, if anybody ever like messes with you, you come straight to like Mr. Pine, like, oh, actually, I don't even want to say his name, but you come straight to that classroom and you come get me. Like she was like kind of my protector, but then like the roles kind of switched when we were like in high school. Actually, no. In high school, I was still very quiet, but like I was more outspoken. I became like, I started to like find a voice a little bit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I wasn't really motivated to like do a lot.
Yeah.
In high school, I felt like I slept. Like honestly, if I could go back in time, I would like redo school and I would put effort. Knowing what I know now, like that I'm not dumb and like I can actually do stuff. I wish I could go back and be more aggressive, more assertive, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was pretty much growing up. But like in high school, I had friends around the middle school, around my neighborhood, and we all just got bored one day, and we're just like, and we were really active. Like I was like the bigger kid, but honestly, I was like pretty in shape. Like looking back now, I was like a pretty in shape big kid.
Yeah.
But me and my friends, we just like, we wanted to do stuff like we wanted to learn how to do a split. We wanted to learn how to do cartwheels. Then like that, we started to learn how to like, oh, maybe we could do a dance. Yeah, you know? So we started dancing, and I didn't realize that just like doing that little like after school, like hang out with my friends, just dancing would lead into like giving me some like career choices, or I don't want to say career. I feel like I'm still like trying to build myself. So
yeah.
But I didn't realize that dancing will like help me later on in life.
Yeah, be a big factor in where you at right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah. So, but
because you're a beast at dance. You're a beast.
Oh, I'm looking. Thanks. Appreciate it. But yeah, that's pretty much my childhood. It was just a lot of. That's my dog. Debbie. Her name's Depilo.
Depilo.
Sorry. Anyways, sorry. Just yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much.
Be good. All right, so I want to ask you, like, just from your experience from growing up as a childhood, like, you know, because I feel like our child plays a big part of who we are. What was like the hardest thing from your childhood that feel like that you went through that stands out?
Okay, so I felt like the hardest thing for me was trying to fit in. But looking back at now, the thing that I hate the most is how hard I was trying to fit in with everybody else. I felt like I wasn't really being myself.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I was embarrassed of stuff like being in Boy Scouts. So I wish that I just didn't like care as much of trying to fit in with everybody.
Yeah.
But I mean, I felt like a loner most of the times, and most of the times I really was a loner. So
okay,
trying too hard. Yeah.
That's good. And how was it? How was it growing up as you know, in your because I know you're Tongan. Like, how was it growing up as a kid in a Tongan household? I was interested to hear that. Now, I'm interested in your own experience growing up as a kid in a Tongan household.
Well, I felt like my parents weren't as strict with us.
Yeah.
And I felt like because we were so far away from other Tongan people, my parents, they like, I want to say they were a little bit more open-minded some ways. They were still like, a little strict, but
yeah,
I felt like we had a lot of freedom. They were hard workers anyway, so we didn't really
yeah.
have anybody to like watch over us, and it was always me, my older brother, and my older sister. It was always the three of us. Uh, and my parents, they would always tell us don't open the door. So that was, they weren't really like, we just had a lot of freedom to do whatever, but we didn't have a lot of friends, so it was just always us three most of the time. But yeah, my parents, I would say they didn't really teach us like Tongan things,
Yeah.
but they did. They're Tongan, so they do their Tongan ways, and we
Yeah.
just picked up on like doing stuff like how they did. Like when we see people, we felawaki, just
Yeah.
go around. But other than that, like I don't really know much about. Okay, let me choose my words. Hold on. Other than them like just doing stuff certain ways, we don't know as much as I feel like we should know about the Tongan culture.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, I mean, my sister, we know how to talunga, stuff, but if you were to ask me like history on Tonga, I'd be like, hello lele, just. So growing up, I would say it was more of the more American integrated into our household.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was still Tongan, like it wasn't just like all American. So it was just like the basics of Tongan.
Okay. And did you ever like at some point in time in your childhood like try to? Because sometimes like with kids like they grow up not really knowing about their culture. Sometimes they do feel like they're not Tongan enough. Did you ever experience that? Like you trying, sometimes like the Tongan community, like if you don't know your culture that much, like sometimes like you said, they might target you. Oh, this guy is like not. Did you?
No, I've never felt like that.
Okay.
I've never experienced like Tongan people being mean to me because I don't know, I'm not Tongan enough, or
Yeah.
and I'm fortunate that I haven't experienced that, because I know people do experience it.
Okay. Yeah.
But I do feel really embarrassed when like there's a little kid who speaks more Tongan than me, and I'm just like, little kid, get away from me. It's just, that's the only time I ever feel anything about that. But I do feel most of like, meeting a lot of the OG Tongans, they're pretty open-armed. They were just very nice. No one judged. I didn't really have anybody like taunting me because I don't speak enough Tongan. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you grew up in after high school, and then you graduated high school. So what happened from there?
So after high school, I got a job. I didn't really do well in high school, and I didn't do well. So like, I didn't really think that I had a lot going for me. My grades, they were just. But so I got a job, and I worked there for 2 years, and I got another job, worked there for 2 years. And then but like during my second job, I started, like, social media just started like becoming really everywhere.
Yeah.
And I just started posting videos online of me dancing, and I started getting a bunch of recognition. Well, I mean, it wasn't like quick, but it did feel like it was kind of overnight.
Yeah.
Because like one day I was just like working, like doing a regular job, and then the next day I got fired. So I was working, got fired, and then I ended up like, being in a music video.
Yeah.
And it was like really quick, and I felt like social media is a big help.
Yeah.
To what I'm like still trying to succeed in. So
Which music video was it? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was all about that bass with Megan Trainor. It was
Oh
my
yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember. Oh man, things are starting to pop up. Flashback now.
yeah
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
yeah
Dang.
that you know that music video. It was kind of I don't watch it now because I just see like all the things that I could have done better.
Yeah.
So, but I'm actually still really proud of being in that, even though I'm like too shy
Yeah.
to even watch it.
Yeah. So somebody from her camp reached out to you for Megan to come do the video.
Yeah, her choreographer, and her choreographer, she's like very talented, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
the only dancing that I haven't been trained in dancing professionally, but it was just like I felt really flattered that people actually took interest in and like wanted me to be a part of their like projects and music video. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. I was really happy. Yeah, that day I cried really hard. Afterwards, I called my brother and I just cried to him. I was like so proud. I was like, this is something like that I didn't think would happen. And um I would say that's still one of my proudest feelings that I've remember of myself.
Yeah.
Because before then I always felt like I was, like a loser, didn't really
Yeah.
amount to much.
Yeah.
So like that was definitely one of my most proudest moments that I felt
Yeah.
and that I remember.
They probably, I can only imagine like they probably uplifted you so much as far as confidence, huh?
It did, I can't lie, like having people like watch my stuff on social media,
Mm-hmm.
it makes me feel like, I'd be a liar if I say, oh, I don't notice, like I don't feel
Yeah.
anything. But I feel good. Like I feel good that people are very nice to me online, and you know, it's just, I just never thought that it would happen to me. But
How was meeting Megan? How was meeting Megan? Did you get your one-on-one time with her?
when no, we didn't have a lot of one-on-one time, but she's really nice.
Yeah.
When I met her, I didn't know she was the singer of the song.
Yeah.
Because they only sent me the song. They like didn't send me. We didn't shoot a music
Oh,
video,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I only heard the song. And when I met her, she's like, "Oh, you're the dancer," and I was like, "Oh, sorry, excuse me." I was like, "Yeah," I didn't know who she was, but
Yeah.
I didn't. But she was so nice. She was like, "Oh, well, I'm Megan." I'm like, "You're white?" I thought she was actually black when I first heard the song, so I was like shocked at that. And then like, she was really nice, and her mother is really like her mom's really sweet.
Yeah.
Like so, they're very nice people.
Okay. So I'm interested to hear like once you did that music video, like I can only imagine like ideas or aspirations started to pop up in your head as far as like what you can do. So like what did that? So after that, what did you start thinking? Okay, what I can only imagine like okay, you start now you have a like there's a different avenue, a different path that just opened up for you that you never know that existed. So now it's like that's probably like giving you inspiration. Okay, what can I do with this? Like I'm interested to hear your reaction after when everything was done.
I don't want to blame it on being young, but I feel like I could have managed it better.
Yeah.
I felt like I should have better prepared. Like I felt this is me how I feel now about me back then.
Yeah.
I felt like if I would have managed it better, I could probably be somewhere else. But so I went from doing the music video, and then the next year in 2015, I got hit up to be a part of a movie. So it was like those it was like one right after the other.
Yeah.
But there was nothing really much happening in between. Like
got you.
So I probably could have kept building up like a rapport of something, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying because I was 21, but I was 21. So like I felt like I wasn't in the right mind state.
Got you.
To be thinking, oh, okay, the music video, now I could do something better, like, now that I have a little bit of clout,
Yeah.
But I didn't think like that. I was like, oh, I was in a music video. Huh. It's just, I should have managed it better. That's my answer.
Got you. Okay. So, what was like the biggest, I was interested, like when you started to gain, attraction, especially on when you're making music videos, how was the response to like the feedback you got from the social media community and the people in your life, and also like interested because you're Tongan, so how was the reaction with the Polynesian community as well? I'm just interested to hear.
So okay, I'll start with social media.
Okay.
Social media, it was good, but social media is one of those things is you got to keep going, and like you got to be consistent. Otherwise, people, you're gonna become irrelevant, and people are like gonna forget you. And you were in a music video, but what else?
Yeah.
So social media, like I got a lot of followers, then I lost a lot of followers. And that was just because I wasn't posting, and like I wasn't posting because I felt like I was burnt out. Like, okay, another dance move. Like, I just,
it's hard. People don't realize how hard it is to like create content on social media.
Right. Yeah, and like you have to like, I tell people that I'm not like worried about what people think, but in the end of the day, I am kind of like worried. I want people to enjoy the stuff. I want to keep building my platform.
Yeah.
So back then, social media was just like, it was kind of like hit or miss. It wasn't anything. My family's response after the music video, they were just proud. My mom still wanted me to go to school, which, maybe I should have, but I don't know. 21 back then. And then, but the Polynesian community, I feel like from my experience, they were pretty supportive. I think people were happy to see a Tongan person doing a music video. But this was also like around the time, like, Fifth Harmony was popping. So like Dinah Jane was like doing music videos as well. But she was doing music videos for herself. Like I was just doing it for somebody else. So like, I guess like Polynesian just like doing music videos together, I think it was pretty good. And I felt a lot of support from the Tongan community.
Yeah. No, I want to talk a little bit more about like social media, because I feel like there's a lot of Polynesians out there on social media, and and that like kind of inspire anybody that wants to go into that avenue that they can. And we're talking to somebody that's in that platform. Have
trying. I'm still trying.
Hey, that's part of the journey, is trying.
Yeah.
That is success. You're just trying your best. So like, was there any like lessons or things you learned, part of the things you learned on social media that you never knew before until you got into that kind of business? I know you mentioned before one of the hardest things is posting content every single day. But I also want to ask you, like, was it hard being on camera and being yourself? Because I know a lot of times like that can be really hard to put yourself out there. So I'm just interested to hear your whole experience on social media, and kind of share that with everybody.
Okay, so it wasn't really hard being myself on social media, because I was just dancing in front of my sister, like in front of a camera. And people don't realize that I tell people I'm not really that confident, I'm most of the time I'm shy, we didn't have a lot of friends. We had friends, but just not a lot. And we weren't really that social. So like people don't believe me when I tell them that, oh, I'm not really this confident in like I am in the videos. They're like, but I tell them that I'm just dancing in front of my sister who's holding a camera, It's not like I'm dancing in front of like the 1,000 people who view my video, It's so I just I just feel like social media is kind of like, I want to tell people to be themselves, but I feel like I'm not really myself sometimes, because I do care about what people think of, like, you know, my content. Like, I don't want them to hate it.
Got you.
It's kind of like, it's this and that, this and that, this and that. Like, if you want this, you have to be that.
I feel like part of social media, you can't escape the hate. There's always negative and haters out there. Always, no matter what, no matter how good your content is, like there's always somebody out there that won't like it.
That is very true, because I actually I'm, if you haven't noticed, I'm fat, so like a lot of people, that's the first thing they'll talk about, hate on, is my weight, and they'll bring up my health, this, and like, it annoys me, but sometimes if I respond, people are like, don't even let it get to you. But I'm like, people are talking about me. I feel so I try not to like read comments, but I read comments. But I changed my name on TikTok to Fatty McBatty, because I'm just letting people know, I'm fat. Just like, okay, I beat you to the joke, but people still comment it anyways.
Yeah, I like it because like you're just owning it. Like, I'm not afraid of it. Ashamed of it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I just being called fat growing up, like, it hurt my feelings a lot. But I just feel like, okay, well, it's old. It's an old joke now. Next, but people still commented. So
what's like I'm always interested here, especially on social media. What was like the most negative thing people said to you on social media?
This one. Okay, you know what? I just remembered this. Someone said that I was an embarrassment to the Tongan culture.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it wasn't even from their profile, but they said I was an embarrassment to the Tongan culture, and that like I'm going to hell. And I was just like, what the heck? Like, I just woke up. I don't know what to say about this. I think I responded, but I don't remember. I just remember what they said. And I mean, stuff like that does kind of hurt the first time. But if people keep saying it over and over, it kind of loses its power. So but I felt like that was one of the meanest things people said to me, because I felt like I didn't like stand up and say, hey, I'm representing all of Tongans, and this is my dance. But I was just like, I'm dancing, and I just so happened to be Tongan. So, but people, haters. So
you hating people hate, that means you're doing something right.
Right.
Nobody hates anybody that's like doing less. They're always hating somebody that's doing more.
Right. But there's actually because sometimes when people do like send like hate for no reason, I've gotten to the point where I can like comment not as bad, but like respectfully. I've actually had a post about it on my Instagram, but it was just this guy. He was like saying mean things to me, and he was like, fat gay. Like, I was like, okay, you're clearly sad. Like, I told him he was a sad person. And he actually was a sad person. And he says, you don't know what it's like to be Islamic, or and you're free to do whatever you want. And so he was basically taking his frustrations out on me.
And that's usually the case. That's usually the case from people that hate.
And I pretty much, the situation turned from like something really bad to like where I understood I don't understand where he's coming from, but like I can empathize with him. But since that, he got me on like a good day, because sometimes I would like comment back like something kind of mean, or like come back. But like after that, I just realized not everybody's hating because like their life is worse, or I'm not saying that my life is the best, but like their life is,
they hate their life.
Like everybody's going through hardships. There we go. Those are the words I was looking for. Yeah, but I'm not better than him. But have my own hardships. He has his own hardships. So just look for a place of understanding, I guess.
I know. It's, that's what I also want to say to everybody out there. Like, I mean, I think that's one of the biggest fears a lot of people have going into social media, especially if they want to do something. Is like they're just afraid of the negative feedback and the criticism and judgment.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I always tell people, because I'm on the social media. I'm trying to do my thing on social media too. But I always tell people, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people that will support you. There's a lot of people like. As much as there's a lot of haters, as much as the haters, how much hate there is out there, but you'd be surprised that whatever you decide to do, whatever you decide to post, like there'll be people out there that will definitely like feel your vibe and support you.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why like those like nice comments and the support like that carries you.
And one thing I'm trying to work on is like I'll get like a bunch of nice comments and then like one mean comment, and I totally ignore all the nice comments.
Yeah.
Like I mean I feel bad that I let that one comment affect me more than the nice ones, but sometimes I'm trying to do better and like not letting things affect me, but I'm human,
Yeah. For me, well, it depends where you are. Some people, like you say, if you can't handle it, just avoid it.
Right.
For me, I love negativity, so I dive into those negative comments.
Oh yeah. And you know what? I feel like people should normalize responding to haters, because people are like, oh, don't just ignore it. But like, no, I want to stand up for myself, and there's nothing wrong with trying to stand up for yourself.
Exactly. So,
and
I mean, what I like to do is like I'll respond to them, but I'll respond with them with logic. Like I'll break down their comment and use logic. Okay, and he was logic against them, and just I'll just confuse them. I'll just confuse the shit.
Right.
But they because I'll use logic with it and just confuse them. They can't respond no more, and they're just and then they're left nothing but just like and just say hate, and then I feel like I got you, I got you. All right, so I know you mentioned you just mentioned like it's good to stand up for yourself. So your whole life, did you ever feel like that? You always had the confidence to stand up for yourself. Or sometimes as I know a lot of people, a lot of Polynesians, especially like that's some of the things that we struggle with as kids, as Polynesians. It's like expressing and standing, saying what we feel and doing what we want to, what's going on in our mind. So I'm just interested to hear that from your life. Like, were you always confident in yourself, or you always like, okay, I don't feel, I'm afraid to express and say what I want to do or be myself?
No, I wasn't always confident in myself. I mean, it's like I like get nervous like going, well, I used to, not anymore, but like if you were go to order your food at McDonald's, like I was scared to even do that. I didn't even like talking to people. And actually part of me thinks that's because like my parents told us to not like answer the door to anybody. So like we just always like had that fear of like talking to people, like and it kind of just like we grew up with it. But I felt like in my childhood I was more confident in Oakland, and I think that's because I had I was a little kid, like I didn't really care about anything. But definitely when I moved to Florida and I had nobody and I was bullied, I definitely didn't have any confidence. It's not until like after I turned 25, that I realized like I'm gonna just say what I got to say, and if you don't like it, I mean, I'm not gonna be straight out mean to people, but if I don't agree, then I feel like, then why do I need to hide what I want to say? Because it's like different from what you want, like what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say my confidence, it didn't come from the little confidence that I do have, just so like we're all sure. I feel like I'm explaining like 4 different people, but I feel like my confidence is like from just stop caring. But here's that thing: stop caring about people's opinions, but I care. It's really hard to like keep up with. Like if I'm online on videos, I care about what people think. But like if you're like just trying to be mean to me, or I care, but I try not to care. It's it sounds very contradictory, but it's not.
No, no, I heard that before. I think that what it is, like, we don't let people's comments dictate our choices in life, but we care about what people think. Because I'm the same way. Like for me, I do care about people's opinion about me, because I feel like it teaches me. I want to know what people are saying, because I want to self reflect. Okay, am I being, especially when it comes to content making, because if you read people's comments and people's comments about you, you can kind of get an idea of how your content is doing or what improvements you need on your content.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a self-reflection too. It's always good to take people's opinion, so that way you can, because maybe you're doing something wrong, and if you never listen to what people say, then you wouldn't know that what you're doing is wrong.
Exactly.
But at the same time, like, I don't let people's opinions dictate what I do.
That's exactly what my answer was supposed to be, but it came out differently. Okay. So yeah, people don't dictate what I. But that was just like, I feel like that's like a lot of the Tongan thing. Like your parents tell you what to do, and like you don't talohui, you don't like talk back. Yeah. So I felt like that could like take a lot away from a child's confidence, like into making their own decisions. But yeah.
Have you gone through that? Did you ever go through that experience where like you wanted to do something for your own life, and you had to like tell your family members, or hey, this is this is how I'm gonna live my life. So this is what I'm gonna do. Because I feel like every Polynesian family is like that. Your family always has like kind of like expectation of, okay, this is what you should act or behave, or as women and men. Like there's a gender role for how women should act. Polynesian women, women that watch it, what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Cook, stay at home, cook, clean, and then men. There's expectation to be like masculine. They have to be like a strong and masculine men. And then sometimes for a lot of us, like we're all different. Like you can't fit people into two. You can't fit people in a box. Like you have to let us be ourselves.
Right.
And did you ever go through that? But like we feel like that. And I don't know. There's expectations of how your family, what you needed to do, or culturally, your culture feel like this is what you needed to be as a man. But you realize, look, I'm me. This is how I am. I'm different. And you want to tell you, and for me, just watching your whole life, like I know, like what you're doing right now is totally, it's totally different from what the tongue and then the traditional Tongan man should be. And that's why I wanted to reach out to you, because for me, when I see Polynesians being different and living their own truth and being unapologetic when it comes to their happiness, what they do, I love that, because I feel like as a community, as a culture, we need more of that. Because I feel like there's a lot of Tongans, a lot of Polynesians in general, that want to do something for their life. They want to be themselves, but they're living the life of their parents, their culture, and they're just like, and they're just unhappy inside, but outside they act like they're happy.
Yeah, I never really, I wasn't pressured to do anything. The only thing that I'd say I was pressured in was serving a mission, which I didn't. I like had to fight back.
So you're LDS, huh?
Yeah, I was baptized. I was. But I remember, I love my family, but I just remember feeling a lot of pressure because, all of my cousins like before me.
Got you, yeah.
Served their mission. My brother served his mission. And it came to me like around the time I'm supposed to go.
Yeah.
And I tried to come up with an excuse like, oh no, I need to stay home and help, But I just didn't, I felt like I can't serve a mission. I was like struggling with like who I was back then to begin with. So I just felt like me serving a mission would be like me like this is how I thought back then. Okay,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
saying this is how I think now.
Yeah.
But I felt like if I were to go serve a mission, I would be fake. Like I'm
Gotcha. Yeah.
preaching to you something, and I know that I can't do something.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't go on a mission. And I like felt like that was, I knew my like family was disappointed, but
Yeah.
I would say that was the first time that I've ever had to like I want to like make my own, a decision in my life.
Yeah.
And and I don't regret not serving a mission. I don't have anything against missionaries,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're great people, athletic, that's not me, I didn't want to, and I'm happy that I didn't, but I love Mormons, most of my family is Mormons, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, like, and I think that's a good message for kids out there. Like, cause I know I'm Mormon too. So like, I know that can be a big pressure. But I feel like the God has a plan for all of us, like a different plan. Like, everybody has a different plan.
Yeah. Because I tell people, okay, so if you were to ask me like right now, like, oh, so are you Mormon? I would struggle with that question because I'm not saying I'm not religious. I just don't know if like maybe LDS is what I believe.
Got you.
But I do feel like I do believe that there is a God. And I feel like for me, my relationship with God is not like me to like prove to anybody else like, yeah, I am.
Mm-hmm.
I still believe, even though I don't act like it.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think religion is like a really big influence in the Tongan culture.
Yeah.
And actually it was kind of weird growing up because like I didn't realize that there was Tongans who weren't Mormon. I just thought that if you're Tongan, you're Mormon. But my cousins, some of them were like Church of Tonga, and
yeah.
And then I see like other cousins, they're like drinking, and I was like, that's not Tongan. I felt like I was really judgmental back then, but that was just how I was raised.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You want to stick to the word of wisdom and doing stuff. But so like, I felt like that was making me judgmental. I'm not saying it makes you judgmental.
Yeah.
I just felt like I was becoming judgmental because of like.
Yeah. You were taught this is how it should be. And then we saw something different. You were like, oh, and that's our natural reaction is to like, to judge.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So yeah, that's something I was, I'm Mormon too, but I feel like and this is my own beliefs, is like I feel like even religion is great and church is great. I feel like the most important thing is your own personal relationship with God. I feel like that's the most important thing.
I agree.
So and I feel like it, nobody, that's your business between you and God. So whatever whatever your relationship with God, that's between you and Him. And I feel like sometimes we often judge people because they don't live that, I guess, gospel or perfect spiritual life, and which nobody does, by the way. Right. Disclaimer.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's like, for me, it's just as long as I have a relationship with God, because I don't really because like you said, God has a play. I'm not perfect. I've smoked, I've drank before. Like,
what?
I'm not,
oh my, what? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Disclaimer. But I'm not ashamed of it, because at the end of the day, like, people don't know who I am, and God knows what I do, and what behind closed doors, what people don't see.
Right.
And for me, that's the most important thing, is just my own personal relationship with Him, and He knows everything I do behind closed doors, of all the stuff I do that most people don't see. And that's what matters to me. And I feel like we worry too much about like the religion and the I guess the optics of how you should be as whatever religion you are in. I think our relationship with God is like, it's just your own personal relationship with God. That's your business between him and You and God. Yeah. Just
exactly.
Wanted to put out there.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I mean, I'm not like I just made friends with a Satanist last year,
Yeah.
and before I met them, I thought like they were like weird, have horns or I don't know piercings everywhere, but it was like just a normal person. I know if I were like still the way my mindset was back then, trying to like please everybody, including my religious people, I would have judged that person really hard. And I hate being judged. Like I hate it. It's like one of the things I hate the most. And I try not to judge anybody now because of how I used to be so judgmental back then. But I want to. Religion doesn't make anybody judgmental. It was just my experience. So like I don't want anybody to like be mad at religious people. So
okay. Also, what I want to ask you is, because I know you did grow up Mormon. Like, what was the toughest thing of like growing up as a Mormon, growing up Mormon?
I feel like growing up Mormon, it was definitely my sexuality.
Yeah.
So I wasn't comfortable, and I was just like, everybody's saying it's wrong, to be a certain way. I realized it wasn't like so much that it's like I used to think that Mormons hate gay people. And so I felt like if I were to like, I couldn't hide it. Like I couldn't hide who I was. Like it's in the way I walk, the way I talk, it's very like feminine. And like back then it was even more like way more. So I just felt like I was really trying like really hard not let my like sexuality take over, and I wanted to like be a good Mormon youth. Like this was in my youth. And like it was I felt like I was going to church and people were just telling me I'm going to hell. Like that's just like where it got, because that was the thing I was struggling with, it was like made a big deal. Nowadays, I feel like it's not that huge of a deal, like amongst like Mormons, but I felt like there was a lot of pressure back then when I was a youth. So,
how early did you realize, like growing up as a kid, like did you realize your feelings? How early?
I mean, it's like how early did you realize you like women? It's
that's true.
I feel like it's just the same thing. Like you just grow up, you like what you like. It's not like, oh, it was August 8th, 2006. It was. I just felt like it's just a natural thing, and I'm not fighting it anymore. I'm not like fighting against it anymore. So
that sounds good. I'm happy.
Thank you. But yeah, that was the thing that I struggled with the most in church. But I tried to explain it like I used to explain it like this, because I was like starting to open up about my sexuality and being Mormon. And I was like trying to explain it. I'm like, oh, my parents wanted me to be a football player, and I ended up dancing. But they didn't stop loving me. And I was like telling people, I'm like, oh yeah, Mormons, they don't hate you. Like they don't hate you. Like I felt like I was like trying to defend Mormons while also like cutting off a piece of who I was.
Got you. Yeah.
So I just wanted to stop like defending, like, so this is what I believe. This is what you believe. Like, this is what I like. That's what you like. It's a.
It was. I feel like it was like I could just understand like it's like an inner conflict, because like you grew up teaching that you grew up in the Mormon church, and that and they kind of like taught you this. You believed in being Mormon, but at the same time like you believe in being yourself.
Very true. Yeah.
So there's like two different beliefs that kind of contradict each other, and you're just fighting. They're like, I want to be a good Mormon person because my family is Mormon, but at the same time, like you realize, look, this is who I am.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And that's why like I fought back during when they were trying to send me on a mission.
Yeah.
Because I think I just got to the point where I'm like, no, I'm not going to. I wasn't like fully out like around that time. It's just that I just didn't want to. That was just the first time I fought back, and
yeah,
I felt like, okay, well, I made it through that. Like, what's next?
Okay.
So
yeah.
But luckily, like there wasn't like much. There wasn't much to fight.
yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah. So, did you how was it like when you how was it when you came out, and did you ever come out and tell your family? How was that?
It was so the first person in my family I came out to was my sister.
Yeah.
And so me and my friend who lived around the block, we both came out to each other, and like we had another friend and he was gay too, and we're just like, what? Like, for real? Like, how did we all just found each other? And then so after like coming out from that, I'm like, I think I'm gonna tell my sister, or I think I'm gonna tell my siblings.
Yeah.
That was the plan. And then I went on a jog around with my sister, like a walk around the block.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, my friend, she got kicked out of her house because she's a lesbian. And my sister's like, oh, and I'm like, so what do you think of that? I was just like trying to see what she thought about it. And she's like, well, I would still love her. I was like, I just started crying. I just like bawled, and I was like, I am bisexual. I was gay, but trying to like ease
it in.
I was like, I'm bisexual. And my sister, she's like, oh, I always wanted a little sister. And she like hugged me. And I felt really great after that.
Yeah.
After this the same night, I went to go like to my brother, and he was working out.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, my friend got kicked out because she's a lesbian. And my brother goes, good. He was like, I was like, okay. And I knew that wasn't his, like, he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to receive the news. So I went inside. But he wasn't ready then, but eventually so me and my group of friends, we were all Tongan. And this was like, I was 23, 24, and we all just, they lived at, like, we started driving 2 hours away just to hang out because there's not a lot of Polynesians.
Yeah.
And so the guys, all the guys and girls, we're all just hanging out at my parents' house, and the guys are going to go get food.
Yeah.
Hold on. Before I tell that story.
Yeah.
We do this thing called truths, right? Like it's like truth or dare, but truth. Just truth.
Yeah.
So I like made a group chat on Messenger, on Facebook Messenger, and I added everybody. I'm like, okay, my truth question. Everybody has to send like a picture of who they kissed, who they kissed on, who's the last person they kissed. And so everybody started sending things, and they were like, okay, well, Sione, you had to play too, and I was like. I asked the question. I don't have to. But after that, the guys were like, okay, so we're going to go get food. And I was like, okay, peace. I hang out with the girls. They're like, Shane, come. And I was like, okay. So I went with them. And then like, there's like 3 of the guys in the back. My brother's driving. And they're like, Sione, we don't care. How we feel about you right now is how we're gonna feel about you later, right? And I was like, okay. And then he was like, we don't, we were not gonna change. We're still gonna love you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this is set up. Like I felt like so set up. I'm like, oh no, they're gonna ask me. And then they're like, who was the last person you kissed? Or I had to tell you another story. Yeah. Okay. I went to New York one day and I was performing somewhere. Yeah. And I invited one of the one of the guys to come. Well, actually, he was meeting up with somebody over there. So I was like, oh, okay, well, this is like, I'm going to be here. We all hung out, but like I invited this guy I was like talking to, like who lived in New York. And I thought we was like being cool about everything, you know, but I guess he caught on, or, you know, someone caught on. Anyways, so I guess he brought up that person, and he was like, was blah, 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 this person. And I started crying. Like, I was like, why y'all gotta do this in front of my brother? Like, he's right here. And then like, we already got we got McDonald's. And I remember I was just like, I was about to start, like, I just remembered the McChicken, and I was about to eat it because I was like trying, like, so like nervous about it.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, yeah. Like, I just said yes. I pretty much confirmed it, and they all just like, yeah, we knew it. Like, you know, like they were actually celebrating, and that was like the most confident I've ever felt in like my like being accepted for like who I am, because they were Polynesian, they're Mormon, you know, they're great people, and they like showed me nothing but love. And then my brother, he's like patting me, and then like my brother gave me a hug afterwards. He's like, you know what, bro? It's okay. And then after that, I was just like, shit. But then telling my parents,
that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, my parents, they, you know, they're Tongan and Mormon, so you know they're set in their ways.
Yeah. But before you go that story, I want to I'm just interested. Like, is your dad like hardcore traditional Tongan? Like, I was interested in what kind of level of Tongan they are.
I would say my dad is a very soft-spoken to, you know, I mean, he's soft-spoken. He's very funny. I want to say to like people who aren't his family, that's like, he's a little bit more talkative to like his our family. But like, you know, at home, you know, he'll discipline if he has to. I wouldn't say he's like a hard Tongan dad. Like,
got you.
I would say, you know, we moved to Florida, you know, we're not like influenced a lot by like Tongan things, or well, I mean, my parents, they already were, but yeah, I felt like they were a little bit more open-minded. But
got you.
Later, because when I first told them, well, I have depression, and I was super depressed that one night, and I was like crying, and I was just like, this was in 2019, last year. So I just came out to them after I turned 27.
Oh, this is recent. This is recent. Oh, wow.
Recent, right? And I never thought that I needed to tell them. Like, I didn't think there was a point to tell them. I'm like, I'm happy with them not knowing. But one night I was just super sad, and I was just crying. Like, I was crying for no reason, and I was just like, I'm gonna go tell that, you know. I told him I smoked weed, and you know, and he was because I moved to Colorado, and I was like, Daddy, I smoked a lot of weed, blah blah blah. He goes, you know what, son, that's like, you're an adult, blah blah blah, you know. That's what he was pretty much telling me. So after that, I felt like, oh, maybe it'll be the same reaction, you know. I was like, and I was crying. He goes, what's wrong? You know, he comes up, he's like, let's go to the living room, thinking something. And I was like, I'm gay. And then he was like, he was quiet. He was quiet. And he's like, go get your mom. So I woke up my mom, and I was like, yeah, Mom, I'm gay. And they were just quiet. And they're like, really? And I was like, y'all didn't know? I'm like, y'all really didn't know?
No, but I wanted to ask, like, you don't do the whole time, like, they never recognize anything?
they had to have known.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, every parent must see that in their kid, right? Like,
you know, and like later on, I just like I wasn't even hiding it. So like I was like, they had to have like, you know, had some kind of inkling.
Yeah, exactly.
But my mom, she was like, I still love you. I will pray for you. You know, and after that, we didn't really like talk about it.
Gotcha.
But I locked myself in my room for like a few days. You know, 27 years old, locking myself in my room, like super sad. I went to the beach the next day, but when I came home, I was just trying to avoid.
Yeah.
After like maybe 2 days of not talking, not their fault. It wasn't their fault. I was locking myself in, like I didn't want to see anybody. I was just, you know, I only came out to like grab food and then go back in.
Yeah.
But my dad, he like, you want to eat, you know, just to start talking somewhere.
Yeah.
I want to say like after that, my relationship with my parents, I felt like have been better and better. I felt like I wasn't hiding anything anymore. And I felt like they knew everything that I wanted to tell them about myself.
Gotcha.
So after that, 2020, like it was like I lost my dad, but like it was the best year that I felt like the relationship I had with my dad and my mom. So but
okay. Yeah, man. Like, thanks for sharing that, because like, you know, I feel like that they're definitely. I know I have friends. You know, I have family members and friends that I saw go through that. Like, you know, as cousins, like we already knew. Yeah. But we just let them like come out on their own time.
I'm gonna just like hold on real quick. I'm sorry, I just gotta let me just get myself together.
It's okay.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, no. I just want to say thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it, and I know that takes a lot of courage to share that. But I feel like that's something that's powerful. Definitely, a lot of people to hear, especially like you know, Polynesians that are like that. Like, because I have cousins that I grew up with, and then like, you know, as kids, like we just knew, okay, I knew it, but we didn't want to say anything. We wanted them to come out themselves. But it's always good to see that they that once they came out, like the happiness and joy they felt, or like the burden they had was like lifted and from them. And also just for everybody that's listening out there, like, you know, whatever you want to share to your parents. I know as Tongan kids, it's hard to and I know my own personal experience, but whatever we want to share to our parents, I know sometimes it's hard for us to share to our parents that because we always think that their reaction is always going to be like the worst case scenario.
Right. Yeah.
Depending on how tough your parents are. I remember for me, like, I always felt like if I said something to my parents, like I always felt like that the reaction was always going to be like they're going to discipline me or die.
Right. Yeah, something bad.
but after interviewing so many Polynesians on my podcast and just listening to their story, and hearing them, like, you know, finally speaking up to their parents and telling them like how they really feel or whatever, you know, whatever they want to share about their life, it's always been like based on everybody's story, it's always been a positive reaction.
Right.
At first there will be that moment of like shock or like silence where the parents might need time to process, or they might say they might be frustrated at you. But then when the dust settles and everything starts to settle down, they'll just, okay, it is what it is. You know, I love you. You're still my son.
Right.
And that's something I want to push. I want to encourage a lot of anyone that's listening to watching this. Like, hey, if you have something to share to your parents that you feel like that's holding you back from being yourself, or from finding joy in your own life, or whatever you want to do, whatever that is, you know, don't be afraid to share, because like, I mean, I'm not saying their reaction is always going to be the same, but you'd be surprised you'd be surprised that they're gonna react in a positive way, and
I feel like that's a lot of like how we all want our parents to react. I mean, of course, that's what anybody wants, how their parents want to react, but
and then so I just wanted to put out there. So but so ever since you shared it, ever since you told them, like, you just feel like it feels good. It feels good to just, it's out in the open.
I felt like it feels good now. It didn't feel good at that, like I felt maybe I shouldn't have done it at that time, but you know, in the long run, I'm glad I did it. And then like a year later, I came out on social media, but it's not like I needed to, it's not like people were like wondering, but I decided just to like, come out and say it, because I've never like said it before
in public.
So that was pretty much the only reason why I said it, but it's not like I need to,
Okay. So for you, so I want to ask you real quick. So for you, because I know there's a lot of kids out there, I just want to give more content to those kids out there that's going through it. Any kind of advice for you, for anybody out there that's having a tough time to open up? Just want to ask you if anything you want to say to them.
It used to be, stay consistent. Like that used to be my answer for everything. But I think what's more important than staying consistent is liking the content that you make. Because, if it doesn't get like the certain amount of likes that you want, at least you like the video. So I think if you want to start doing social media, make sure any content that you put out is something that you like. And that's what I try to do for myself. Like if my videos don't get a certain amount of views, as long as I like it, I still care about the views, sometimes low key. So.
Okay, so what's your what's your plan now? Like, what is there any goals you have right now, like as far as like what you want to do with your social media platform?
I want to keep growing it. So I've been like trying to put out. Okay, this is one of my goals. Okay.
Yeah.
Like me and my friends, we've been talking about me putting out merch for like to like onto my TikTok, but I felt like I was never like happy with like, because I told them I was going to do it. I hit 1 million followers on TikTok, and my friends were like, let's put out merch. I was like, I feel like my content's not there yet to like where I could put out merch. And then I hit 2 million followers on TikTok. And then I was like, they were still, my friends, they're very supportive. And they like to do social media too. But I didn't want to put out merch. And then I hit 3 million followers on TikTok. And so now I'm just like, I'm debating if I want to put out merch, but I still kind of want to keep growing myself to like where I feel like, okay, I guess it's acceptable to put out merch now. There's some people who there's some people who have less followers, but they like put out merch, and like that's something that I wish that I could just be confident, like, are people gonna buy this from me? Or
I'm sure they would.
That's my friends say that all the time. I just get into my head a lot. So but it's there's I try to like see what everybody else is doing, and then seeing like, should I, So, no, but I have, but my friends, they're the ones who are pushing for it more than me, because I mean, they're good people, and I do want to do it. So that's definitely one of my goals, is to start getting merch, make some real money. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get that bread.
The social media money. I feel it. What I do want to talk about real quick is I think it's a trending the popular topic that I always ask everybody. So I'm always interested in your own perspective and opinion. Is talking about mental health. So I know within our community in Polynesian, that's something that they don't believe in. They think it's especially the older generation. They think it's
yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really exist, I feel like. And,
yeah.
you know, oh, sorry, go ahead. What were you going to ask?
Oh, yeah. So, but everyone knows, you know, especially in our generation, it is a real thing. You know, people go through hard times and mental suffering and depression. So,
right.
I was interested to hear about your own experience with mental health and like, and how you dealt with it and how did you move on from it. And I'm interested. I love to hear different people's perspective and story because I feel like it definitely helps anybody out there that's going through it.
Yeah, you know, I feel like the thing that a lot of people or a lot of Tongans have in common is definitely just not being able to speak your mind. I felt like my parents, I wasn't allowed to speak my mind like as freely as I was, as I thought, but I feel like my parents, they, in the years, like later years, like within these past few years, they've been a little bit more open-minded. And when I was growing up, and I wasn't able to like say what I wanted or say how I feel or tell somebody like what they're doing is like hurting me and like making me sad, I just bottled it all up. And I felt like I started snapping at people, not in a good way. Like I felt like it was someone who I wasn't like, who I ever thought I would be, just like being really rude, snapping at people for the wrong times or making. But I felt like it was because of all that built up emotion that I had.
Yeah.
It was really, I felt like it was really bad, and I started speaking my mind more in the last few years. I want to say like after I turned 25. I really feel like that was like the moment where I just stopped caring. But I care, you know, but I just stopped caring about like what people think. Or just speaking my mind a lot more. Which definitely does help. Definitely talking it out with people. When I opened up about my depression, about suffering with depression, a lot of my cousins and close friends, I didn't know that they were going through the same thing I was going through.
Yeah.
But they all started like just texting me, "Hey, I'm going through this too. You're not alone." Blah blah blah, and definitely like opening up to people. It definitely let me see that people around me were going through the same thing, and I really wasn't alone. So
I know it's funny when you said that. Like, for me, or like, you know, when we go to depression, we think nobody's going through it because you know, I think as Polynesians, we really make good spies because like we know how to hide our our emotions.
You're right, exactly. Lie detector test.
Yeah. Oh, that's nothing. Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the thing is like it's always good. That's something I always want to encourage kids out there is like you're not alone, and there's a lot of us. Honestly, I feel like everyone's going through it. Yeah, I feel like even our parents go through it. Because like, but they just don't show it to us, and then you know, for us, we just kind of replicate what they show us. Okay, no emotions, cold-blooded, no affection. All right,
right. I got you,
got your mom and dad.
Which hand? Backhand.
That's funny. I always share this story to everyone, but like you know, growing up, you know, I grew up in like a traditional Tongan house. I grew up with my grandma, and my grandma was very like strict. And very tough loving, you know. And I don't know if you ever experienced this. You ever get disciplined by your parents? Or you know, was grandma was for me, but and then you cry, and then they tell you to stop crying, or they hit you more if you keep crying.
Of course.
which for me was I was always confused. Like, why are you telling me to stop crying, but you're hitting me?
Right. Or fix your face. I'm like,
yeah, fix your face. Stop.
Yeah.
But it's funny is because so as a child I realized, okay, when I get disciplined, if I stop crying, if I learn not to cry no more, or they'll just stop hitting me. The more I cry, the more I'll get disciplined more. So I literally learned not to cry no more. But which is now I'm an adult, I can't cry no more.
Oh, really? Lucky you.
Like it's just I can't cry. Like even in moments I should be crying, or and then some of my friends like, dude, I tell you, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you so cold blooded? No, dude, I'm not cold blooded. I'm not unemotional. It's just I've been conditioned. I've been traumatized.
Right. You've been trained for this.
I've been trained like a CIA agent.
Right.
not to cry. Like I just inside I feel the emotion. If inside I feel it, but my face is just no.
They don't work no more, right? Disconnected. Yeah.
So I can't cry because of my tongue and discipline upbringing. but mental health is something that we go through, and I always want to tell kids, like, reach out. Like, did you because I know it can be tough, but what made you like come out? I want to ask you, like, what gave you the confidence to come out? Because I know that's really, really hard for us that's going through depression to open up and really be vulnerable and let people know. But I want to ask you, like, what inspired you to, like, you know what, I'm going to let people know about my depression?
It was the night that I came out to my parents, and I was so sad.
Yeah.
And I like had a lot of like I mean, I had a lot of like suicide like thoughts.
Got you.
So like I don't know like what would have happened if I didn't like reach out to my cousin. But it's just like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, things would be easier if I just like ended it all.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have it in me at this point in my life to like go to that step.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just like what I think of. Like, it's not like I want to think of it, but after I told my cousin, well, she's not my cousin, but she's Tongan, so I call her cousin.
We're all cousins.
After I told her, it felt like a lot of weight was lifted off of my shoulders. And I just was like, you know what? I just want to be open and honest about it. I didn't realize it was going to like affect, or I didn't realize the response I was going to get from it. And I didn't want people to feel sorry for me, like for sharing it. I just wanted to like
understand,
share it and get it off my chest.
Get off. Yeah, let it go. I'll catch it.
Yeah, and it was, I'm glad that I did. Sometimes, a lot of Tongans, or I don't want to speak for all Tongans, but sometimes like I don't want to show emotions because I have too much pride. I want to seem like I'm okay all the time.
Yeah.
I don't want to seem like I let haters affect me, but they do, and I cry. Sorry that you don't, but but it was definitely just, it made me feel a lot better just opening up about it after how I felt telling my cousin about it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's something that we all go through. Like, we because I totally get what you feel like. We don't, I feel like that part of the reason why we, not only our pride to be, not to look weak, but also like, our community is very judgmental. very judgmental. So I feel like our pride plays a big part of it, but we just don't want to be talked about. We just don't want to be like trashed.
Right.
Because I see that all the time with the community. If something happens to somebody, or they make a mistake, or like, they're not living the life of what the Tongan daughter or son should be, man, everybody starts talking about you. And then nobody wants to go through that. Nobody wants to go through that.
I never realized how much of a difference the Tongan girls get treated from the Tongan boys, because I feel like well, in my experience, I felt like we were allowed to do a lot more than what my sister did, like
Oh yeah,
does. And, I never really took that into consideration until like me and my friends, we were talking about it. And I started like the girls who were talking about it were talking about their experience being Tongan. And then I was talking about like, oh, I've never seen it that way. But they were
yeah,
girls. And
yeah,
like looking back at it, I see how my sister was treated different.
yeah,
But I feel like, we're all growing and, you know, I do feel like growing up, I didn't have it as hard as like most Tongans have it
yeah,
growing up.
yeah,
Because, there are some Tongans who like probably get thrown out for, not being what their parents want to be.
yeah,
Um, but my parents were very accepting later, like
yeah.
later. So I feel like I don't have it as hard, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, yeah. I think I remember it was like Lanu, one of one of the girls I interviewed a couple weeks ago. She said it. She said like I asked her the question like what's the hardest thing about being a Polynesian woman, and she said that the hardest thing about being a Polynesian woman is like they get shamed for everything they do, no matter how big or small. It's like the same level of shame.
Right. Right.
And for me, like you said it right. Like for me growing up, I never. Well, when I grew up in Tongan, like all the girls stayed inside the house, and the boys we stay in a little different shed outside the house.
For
So
real? That's how it was?
that's how it was. So we lived in two different worlds. Like we were always outside in our little place, and then the girls lived inside. But we knew like they were cooking and cleaning inside. But but as boys, like we were outside. We could leave and go to our friend's house, and then we come back, and we don't have to go inside the house. We just come back. Like then our parents didn't care what we did.
Right.
We're already outside anyway.
Right.
But the girls, they're always inside.
Yeah, I didn't, because it was always me, my brother and sister. So
Yeah,
we didn't and we were in Florida. Like I didn't really like. I know that like if there's a girl in the room, don't lay down, or stuff like that, like being disrespectful. But like I just feel like we're in America, like something's got to change, because when me and my cousins when we get together, I mean, I guess you would say that we're being disrespectful because we're all just chilling. I mean, it's guys and girls all mixed, but we're not like, I don't feel like that we're doing anything like bad. And I do feel like maybe if we were in Tonga, like we'd probably be a little bit more want to keep up with the Tongan ways.
Yeah.
But since we're like here in America, I just feel like that we should just, we're just chilling. We're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah. And I mean, and I'm in the same way. Like I don't see anything wrong, with spending time with, being in the same room with your sisters, because I feel like that's how we bond. I feel like if you keep them away, like I feel like that you wouldn't be able to bond as close as you can to your sister.
Right.
I mean, and also just to put out there, like I remember I had a discussion with about culture, right? Because like the Tongans want to keep that culture, but I remember somebody said that the culture don't make the people make the culture. Like it's like we make the culture. So like there was a, because how we think about it, like how we live now in 2020, as far as the society and culture is totally different from like 1800s.
Right, yeah.
So the culture has changed over the years, and then it's just everybody just dictates what the culture is as far as the people. So I feel like for me, that's my point of view of it, that as Tongans, like our generation, like we can dictate the culture. Like you know, because I feel like there's a lot. Because no matter how much, you know, people know like I'm Tongan. I love my Tongan culture. I'm a Matima Tonga for life.
Okay.
All right. I can't cry for Tonga. That's the whole different topic.
Yeah. But you'll mate for them.
I'm mate for them. Oh, I can't cry for Tonga, but as much as I love my culture, I am aware that it's not perfect, and there's a lot of unhealthy and toxic things that we do that I feel like that it doesn't, that actually harms the child more than actually does them better. And I feel like that's one of the things, because I know a lot of girls like that they're forced to stay home and especially in America, right? And I don't
in America, really?
In America, like they can't leave, right? You know, they like they have to stay home. I mean, that's the rules and boundaries. That's part of, I mean, the girls still leave. They still, you know, they still find a way through the window.
Right. Yeah. I
mean, you know, I'm saying like they like that's the rules that's been set. Like they want to do things. They want to go outside. They want to have fun. And there's nothing wrong with having fun and go out and live life. But the gender roles that's placed upon them, and, you know, they have to stay home. They have to cook. They have to clean. And then it's like I kind of molded them just to be a housewife or something.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I know a lot of Polynesian girls that want to be more than that. They want to be doctors, lawyers, social media influencers, dancers, whatever they want to do. But and those are, you know, those are things I just see for myself. Like I feel like there's a lot of things in our Polynesian community that's not healthy. That's for the child. And that's why I started this podcast. I want to talk about it because I feel like change is going to start. If we want to change everything, if we want to improve our culture and help our Polynesians, then as a collective, as people, I can't just dictate the culture. Like all of us have to come and, you know what, and realize and say, hey, you know, this is causing a lot more harm to the children. Then you're gonna have kids one day. I'm gonna have kids one day. Then we control the culture we teach our kids.
Right.
So I'm gonna teach my kids the Tongan culture, but I'm gonna teach them a different culture of things I'm gonna leave out and things I'm gonna add on, because I feel like I've gone through that pain and I've seen my brothers and sisters go through that pain. I don't want my kids to go through that pain.
Are you fluent in Tongan?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So, you know, one thing. Wait. So you were born in Tonga?
I was born in Australia. I grew up in Tonga and then moved here in high school.
Okay. So one thing, you know, because I'm, you know, first generation American, one thing that I wish that my parents like would have taught me is to speak in Tongan.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's the first, like, that could be like the first like introduction into the culture, is just learning the language before you want to, like, you know, it just, you know, just growing up, I just wish that I knew how to speak Tongan and like maybe it'll help me understand more of like how like OG Tongans do things.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to think and process what you said, because I don't feel like you need to know the culture. I mean, no, sorry. I don't think you need to know the language to understand the culture.
That's true.
Because a lot of times you can grow up with parents that's hardcore Tongan, that you do everything Tongan, you do all the Tongan functions and stuff, but they won't teach you the language. But you do everything in Tongan, so you still know the culture, but you just won't know the language. Because I know, you know, because I know a lot of Tongan, because I know a lot of like I know a lot of my Tongan friends, right? They're all in the culture. They know all the rules, you know, all the ways, and you know, all the stuff. But their parents never taught them the language. Just the only thing they know, but they know the culture.
I see.
But they like they may not speak it, but they understand Tongan. But I don't feel like I just feel like that, you know, I feel like you don't necessarily need to know the language. It's good to know because, you know, that's how you communicate, that's how you talk to people. But you can still be part. But I feel like you can still know the culture just by being around it, being in it. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. That's how I learned, like, or that's how I know what little that I know is just by being around.
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So, but I'm interested to see I'm interested from your own perspective, like because you know, based on the culture that you know, like what are things that you feel like that we do as a culture that kind of like that a lot of people struggle with, especially like, you know, growing up here in America. I'm just interested to hear your perspective.
I feel like as a culture, what we struggle with,
Yeah.
you know, it definitely would have to be the judgmentalness. I feel like that's a huge struggle. I feel like if we could just get rid of that, there would be no so much pressure, but everywhere's judgmental. So, but I feel like we just don't want to let our culture down or like disrespect it. Or well, that's how I feel. Like I don't want to disrespect the culture, but I don't know much. I don't know as much as I should.
Yeah.
I feel like as much as I should know. So, and I don't feel like that's anybody's fault. Like, I'm not gonna say it's like, oh, my parents should have taught me, because you know I'm still happy with the way I turned out. Like, you know, not like mad or anything, but I just feel like maybe as a culture to put less pressure on the young ones nowadays.
Yeah.
Well,
that's true.
I feel like we're still changing.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're in the process. And I feel like just from my experience, you know, a lot of people being open-minded. So I haven't really experienced a lot of like the bad, like Tongan, but I feel like that is where we could improve on. It's just judging others and pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. I give. Yeah. That's usually the things I see a lot of kids struggle with. Just the pressure, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
but are you around a lot of Tongans?
Yeah, I grew up. You know, for me, I'm in LA right now. So,
nice.
For yeah. So I typically like to hang around with other people besides Tongans, and I don't have I don't have anything against Tongans. It's just like, for me, I like to surround myself with people that's like-minded with what I'm trying to do with my life.
Mm-hmm. So and there's like, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So and that's something I want to encourage, because I feel like, for me, I feel like that's one of the fears of that's one of the limitations that the kids have, because, you know, they're afraid to hang around other people, because if you hang around other people, you know, they call it fear palangi, you know.
Yeah, but
Americanized.
Well, fear palangi,
or fear, you don't want to hang out with us, and that's usually the feedback I get when I used to hear when I used to hang out with other people, like, man, you don't hang out with, like, talking to my friend, like, you don't hang out with us, like, if you're palangi. I'm like, no, I don't think I'm better than you. It's just I like hanging around with these people because, like, I like their ideas, their thoughts, and how they think. Like, I'm attracted to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it stems from being judgmental, but, you know, like, actually, I did get called whitewashed a lot. Because like growing up in Florida, one of my Tongan friends, she hates that. She hates, like, she says that's like an insult to her. She's like, she's Tongan and this is just how she acts. So I understand, like, when people say, oh, well, you're whitewashed, it's kind of like
making you feel less Tongan.
Honestly, right. Yeah, that. And I didn't, like, it didn't bother me, like, growing up, like, it didn't, like, but when I heard how she felt, I'm like, she has a point. Like, stop calling me that, you know. And
because I feel like it's like pretty much like diminishing who you are as a person, you know. This is really because whatever you do in your life, like whatever you decide to do, that's part of who you are. That's part of your personality and who you are. And then to say that what you're because what you're doing is via palangi, you know, that's like saying, like, oh, something's wrong with that.
Right.
Exactly. And if something's wrong with that, that means you're saying something's wrong with me.
Right. Bars. You should write a book.
Maybe.
Write a book. Sounds good.
And I'm like, nah, nothing's wrong with me. Nothing's wrong with me. I'm
exactly.
Good. I'm good.
Like, yeah, I just feel like, you know, maybe because a lot of my cousins, they're from Oakland.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they're a little bit more hood than I am, you know, pretty gangsta, you know, they're from Oakland.
Yeah.
So, and so I see like how my personality is different from theirs.
Yeah.
And they're definitely more Tongan than I.
Yeah.
But they haven't been any like disrespectful towards my personality or anything. They've been very accepting. So
yeah.
But I did get called whitewashed a lot, not by them, but just like from other people.
Other people. Yeah, I feel. Yeah, I mean, anybody out there is watching this. Yeah, like I said, like who you. I think what we do, you know, we should be proud to be Tongan, but we should also be proud of the individualities and uniqueness of each Tongan, if that makes sense.
Right.
All right. So we're all Tongan, but we're all unique Tongans in our own way.
Yeah, and I feel like if you were born in America, or if you know you're born in anywhere that's not Tonga, that like you're gonna have like some kind of American influence on like how you're raised, or you know, maybe if you were born in Japan. I know there's some Tongans in Japan.
Yeah, you're gonna the culture. Yeah, the culture is gonna be part. Wherever you grow up in, you're gonna be part of that culture.
Right. And I just, but yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. I want to ask you. Yeah, I wanted to ask you because I know, man, I know we've talked about a lot of great things, and I very appreciate you sharing your life story. Are there any like certain topics? I'm supposed to ask you in the beginning of before we started Zooming. Is there certain topics that you want to talk about of what's going on in the world, of something that you have a specific passion for? You just want to open it up and we can just talk about it. Anything that's specific to you?
You know, lately, I mean, I hope those stimulus freaking get mailed out, but
yeah, we're all ready for our stimulus checks. Oh man.
But I don't know. The only thing I'm trying to the last few years for New Year's, I haven't made any resolutions. So this year I'm like trying to like get back on a resolution, kind of like make goals for myself and like reach those goals, like push myself. And one of my resolutions, I actually wanted to stop wearing silipas. Like I wanted to start like putting on my shoes more, because I feel like if I put on my silipas, I'm not gonna like, you know, I won't feel like, oh, okay, or it's just I'll feel like I'm lazy, like I'm just like in a lazy kind of mood, like okay, I'm just running to the store and running back. But like if I put on my shoes, I'm like, okay, like it'll probably want to inspire me to do other things, you know, like I'm ready to walk walk other places, you know, do something different. So that's all I'm trying to do right now.
Dude, I like to wear slipper. Like I wear them
everywhere. Me too. Like believe me, I like it.
I only wear shoes if I have to wear shoes. If I have to wear shoes. If I say like I'm going hiking or something, running, okay, I'll wear shoes. But if I church, I'll wear shoes. But if I don't have to, I'll wear it everywhere.
Right. And you know, that's what I didn't really care for shoes. I mean, I could walk outside barefoot, but like well, just outside. I can't go to like the movies like barefoot. But I just felt like my silipas, like it's just a little changes. Like I'm just gonna start there. Like I'm gonna put on my shoes. Maybe I want to do something adventurous today. So
okay. Yeah. I'm just quick because you say you want to make New Year resolutions. So I'm always interested. Like, you know, I know you want to make changes. What's the hardest thing for you personally? What's the hardest thing about change for you?
What's the hardest thing about change?
Yeah, I know. Everybody. I'm just interested to hear your own perspective, because I know a lot of times like we don't like change and it's really hard to do it, but we know we have to change. But for you, like I'm just interested.
Actually I like change.
Yeah.
The hardest thing about change, I would say, is trying to get used to doing a new routine, or like probably trying to get used to doing something a certain way.
Gotcha.
Because I know now that if I wanted to put my mind to anything, then I could do it. It would just have to be like it. Well,
you can't do it. I know it. Of course you can do it.
Right. But some things I do like struggle with, like maybe my weight, not maybe my weight, I struggle with that. And I thought it would have been easier to lose weight, but for me, like, I feel like I'm an emotional eater, and like, sad, happy, just eating. But which is also another goal, surprise. I think the hardest thing is just trying to get my mindset onto like a different path, or like doing it a different way. So with my weight, it's definitely one of like the struggles that I have, but I know I have to change the way I eat. But I'm starting with my shoes for now. It's going to progress, progress.
You can start somewhere. You can start somewhere.
Start with the shoes while eating a burger. Maybe next time eat a salad, So.
Well, yeah, man. Like I said, I definitely support you in everything you do.
Thank you.
And like I said, I mean, just listening just listen to everything. Like, man, I know a lot of people will resonate to what you said. And also, just let you know, I know you've gone through some tough times, but you are, people, we need you. We love you, appreciate you, we support you.
Appreciate it.
We need you, bro. We need you to keep making some that content, bro. Keep making those dances. Because make that content. But it's one thing I always like to say. Number one, just say thank you for taking the time, and also thank you for the courage to do this. A lot of people don't know, but it takes a lot for anybody to be vulnerable and share their story. People don't realize how much courage that takes.
Right. Yeah. But also it takes a lot of courage to reach out to people like what you do. So give yourself some props, my dude. Yeah, I think what you're doing is really good, and I said this before we even started recording. What you're doing is really good. I feel like it gives a lot of Polynesian people a different perspective, but it also helps people say what they've been trying to say, but never had the opportunity to say it.
Yeah.
And you doing it on being so open-minded and having people just be open on your platform. You're doing the Lord's work. I know.
Hey, that's too much pressure. That's too much pressure. I don't use the Lord.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
The way I live my life is not the Lord. Off camera, I'm a different person.
Right. Okay, you know what? Start with the shoes.
No, I know it's funny. Sometimes people say that to me. Like, I'm like, dude, don't say. I mean, I love God, but I feel that's too much pressure for me, man.
Right. But you are doing really good work. I mean, I feel like what you're doing is really good. So.
Yeah, like I said, I know, and like I said, I love, also like just shout out to you. I love when I see my own people, go and live their own truth and live their own life and go go excel and elevate themselves. Because I know our community is very harsh and judgmental, especially people that are like different. Mm-hmm. But and that honestly, that's why I reached out to you. Because like I love that, because like I feel like I know there's like thousands of Polynesian kids that want to do what you want to do inside, but like they're afraid to do it. So I feel like whenever somebody like lives their own truth and shines their own light, like it gives permission to other people to start shining their own light. And I love what you're doing. I'm excited to watch your journey. Thank you. I know you're gonna make it to the top. I know you're gonna make it. Just don't forget me. Hey,
you too. Me. No, we both gonna make it there. I'll see you at the top.
Don't forget your boy. But one thing I always want to ask everyone that's on the podcast, if just share some final thoughts for everybody to end it off. Final thoughts. So, you know, whatever that comes to your mind. Everybody, you already know it's a lot of people watching, you know, watching right now, and I know that you're empowering and inspiring a lot of people that's watching. So, just some final thoughts to leave it off. I know I don't want to pressure you, but just throw it out there. Some final thoughts.
You know, stay in school. No kidding. No, I just feel like just say what you want to say, and back it up. You know, just. You want me to Google some quotes? I mean, I'm not a very inspirational speaker, but you know what? Be good. Do something good. Just be good to people.
We'll take that. We'll take that.
Okay. Came up with that one.
Original quote.
Yes. Yeah, at me.
All right. And of course, anybody out there that you know wants to support Sione and want to follow him, I'll definitely make sure at the bottom of the video I'll put his information down for all his platforms. Please check him out, follow him, and support him on everything he does. But I'm about to turn the recording off, and I'll talk to you right after. Let me turn off the recording. The show.